Car prices in the US may soon surge by $1,000 to $3,000, not due to a global crisis or supply shortage, but because of a looming import tariff policy threatened by the Trump administration. Is this a strategic move to safeguard American industry, or a high-risk decision that could destabilize the economy? With Canada and Mexico preparing to strike back, who will bear the brunt? Businesses, workers, or American consumers? Let's break down the real impact of the America First policy and why it might pose the biggest threat to the U.S. auto industry yet. The key question is, why is the Trump administration choosing this moment to impose tariffs? The answer lies in its well-known America First agenda, not just a slogan, but a foundation for protectionist trade policies aimed at reviving domestic manufacturing, reducing dependence on foreign goods, and expanding job opportunities for American workers. The main objective? Strengthen domestic industries, particularly steel and aluminum, which are crucial for car manufacturing. From Trump's perspective, increasing import tariffs could encourage automakers to invest within the U.S., lessen reliance on international suppliers, and create more American jobs. However, while the goal is to boost local production, the reality is more complicated. The U.S. auto industry heavily depends on international supply chains, particularly from Canada, Mexico, and Asian countries. Disrupting these networks doesn't just raise production costs, it also threatens the competitiveness of American car makers on the global stage. So do tariffs truly protect the economy, or will they end up burdening American businesses and consumers with rising costs? Did you know that millions of cars built in the U.S. depend on parts manufactured in Canada and Mexico? These two neighboring countries supply engines and transmissions from factories in Mexico, raw steel and aluminum from Canadian industrial hubs, and electronic components and microchips from Asia, particularly South Korea and China. Once these parts are assembled, they are shipped to U.S. manufacturing centers in Detroit, Ohio, and Kentucky for final production. But what happens if this system breaks down due to new tariffs? Production costs will soar, making vehicles more expensive for consumers. Thousands of businesses, from auto giants to small suppliers, will feel the financial strain. Canada and Mexico may retaliate, escalating a long and costly trade war. Can the U.S. truly manufacture everything domestically? Would shifting all auto production back to the U.S. solve the issue? While it sounds like a reasonable fix, the reality is far more challenging. Here's why. High labor costs. U.S. wages are significantly higher than those in Mexico and Canada, driving up manufacturing expenses. Regulatory hurdles, strict environmental and labor laws further increase operational costs. Resource limitations. The U.S. lacks sufficient domestic steel, aluminum, and rare minerals essential for electric vehicle production. Time and investment. Rebuilding the necessary manufacturing infrastructure could take 5 to 10 years and cost billions. Inflation risks. Higher domestic production costs would lead to skyrocketing prices, potentially fueling inflation. If the U.S. disrupts its international supply chains, the impact won't be limited to businesses. Consumers will also feel the financial hit. Canada's unexpected move, 100% tariff on Tesla. In response to Trump's tariff threats, Canada has proposed a shocking countermeasure, a 100% tariff on Tesla. This isn't just about one company, it's a move that could shake the entire North American auto industry. Canada's strategy, a blow to U.S. auto dominance? For decades, Canada and the U.S. have maintained a robust trade relationship, exchanging $50 billion in vehicles and raw materials annually. However, under Trump's protectionist policies, Canada now finds itself in a difficult position. In retaliation, a Canadian politician has proposed doubling tariffs on Tesla vehicles, a move that could send shockwaves across the market. Why target Tesla? Tesla isn't just America's top electric car manufacturer, it symbolizes innovation in the global auto industry. With a 70% market share in the U.S. electric vehicle sector, Tesla dominates the EV landscape. If Canada imposes a 100% tariff, the price of Tesla cars there could increase by $5,000 or more, making them unaffordable for many consumers. This would have serious consequences. Tesla's Canadian sales would plummet, reducing demand. Investors could see stock value decline as Tesla's revenue and profits take a hit. Expansion plans across North America could slow, weakening Tesla's global position. The global ripple effect on electric vehicles. This trade war isn't just a North American issue. It could disrupt the entire electric vehicle industry. Higher production costs could delay the transition to green energy, affecting global climate goals. Automakers and component manufacturers worldwide may struggle with price increases. Delays in electric vehicle adoption could slow innovation in sustainable transportation. Tesla in the eye of the storm. What's next? Is a 100% tariff on Tesla enough to shake the US auto industry? The data suggests yes. Tesla plans to sell over 1 million cars worldwide this year, with 50,000 units sold in Canada annually. If Canada doubles tariffs, Tesla prices there could spike by 50%, making a Tesla Model 3, currently $40,000, cost $80,000. That's far beyond what most consumers can afford, but the impact doesn't stop at Tesla. Major American automakers like General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler would also suffer. If this trade battle escalates, it could redefine the future of the North American auto industry, and American consumers will be left paying the price. US-Canada trade war is the North American auto industry at risk. Each year, over 2 million vehicles are produced in Canada and shipped to the US. If a tariff dispute escalates, it could shut down factories and leave hundreds of thousands of workers unemployed. With the Canadian auto sector valued at $50 billion annually, the ripple effects wouldn't just harm Canada, it could destabilize the entire North American economy. What started as a trade disagreement between the United States and Canada has now spilled over into multiple industries, threatening more than just auto manufacturing. Canada's retaliatory tariffs against US policies are hitting American farmers hard, and this could mark the beginning of a wider agricultural crisis. The agricultural fallout, how retaliation is reshaping global markets. The situation intensified when the United States imposed a 25% tariff on various Canadian goods, including agricultural exports like grains, meat, and dairy. Canada wasted no time in responding, slapping tariffs on US agricultural products, including corn, soybeans, and beef. As a result, export costs skyrocketed, and American farmers are struggling to find new markets. US dairy farmers, who have long depended on Canada as a key market, are now experiencing severe financial losses. With new tariffs making exports too expensive, demand has dropped, forcing prices down and putting many dairy farms at risk. US dairy farmers, who have long depended on Canada as a key market, are now experiencing severe financial losses. With new tariffs making exports too expensive, demand has dropped, forcing prices down and putting many dairy farms at risk. For US corn and soybean farmers, Canada has always been a top export destination. Now, retaliatory tariffs have caused prices to plummet, leaving farmers with unsold crops and massive financial strain. Cattle and pig farmers are also feeling the pressure. With the cost of exporting meat to Canada surging, demand has collapsed. Prices are in free fall, while farmers scramble to find new buyers for their livestock. This crisis isn't just an immediate financial hit, it has far-reaching economic consequences at local, national, and even global levels. A shift in the global agricultural market. The US-Canada trade dispute is creating gaps in global agricultural supply chains. Countries like China, Mexico, and the EU are stepping in to fill the void, increasing their agricultural exports where US farmers are losing ground. Facing market uncertainty, many US farmers are turning to precision agriculture to boost efficiency. However, these high-tech solutions require substantial investment, and with tariffs straining their finances, many farmers simply can't afford to modernize. In the long term, this trade conflict could reshape North American farming. Many small, family-owned farms may not survive, forcing them to sell out to large agribusinesses, accelerating the corporate takeover of the industry. Beyond financial struggles, US farmers are experiencing severe emotional distress. Mounting financial pressure is taking a toll on mental health, raising concerns about depression and suicide rates in farming communities. Europe turns away from US. Gas Canada steps in as a major energy supplier. A surprising shift in global energy markets has put the US economy at risk. The European Union, once the largest buyer of American liquefied natural gas, is pivoting to Canada instead. This move raises critical questions. Why is Europe abandoning US energy exports? Has Canada truly become a better alternative? Could this decision reshape the global energy landscape? Why is Europe moving away from US gas? The turning point came with the Russia-Ukraine war. As the EU imposed sanctions on Russia, Moscow cut gas supplies, triggering an energy crisis. The US stepped in, supplying LNG to Europe and helping the region survive a harsh winter. But problems quickly surfaced. First, high prices, U.S. gas prices were far above global market rates, making American LNG too expensive for European consumers. Second, strict U.S. trade policies. Many European leaders felt that Washington was using energy as a political weapon, imposing unfavorable trade conditions. And third, unstable energy policies. With each U.S. administration changing energy strategies, the EU saw America as an unpredictable partner for long-term energy security. Why did Canada become Europe's new supplier? Instead of depending on volatile U.S. policies, the EU started looking for a more stable and cost-effective energy partner. Canada emerged as the perfect candidate for several reasons. First, abundant natural resources. Canada has massive oil, gas, and critical mineral reserves. Second, stable trade relations, unlike the U.S., whose trade policies shift with every new administration. Canada has maintained long-term, reliable ties with Europe. Third, commitment to green energy. The EU isn't just looking for gas, it's investing in a sustainable future. Canada is a leader in renewables, including wind, solar, and hydroelectric power, and has large lithium, cobalt, and nickel reserves, essential for EV battery production. With these advantages, Canada is rapidly taking over the U.S. market share in Europe. How will the U.S. be affected? Europe's shift away from the U.S. will have serious economic consequences for America. First, loss of a major export market. The EU was the largest buyer of American LNG. If Canadian energy takes over, U.S. companies could lose billions in revenue annually. Second, threats to the U.S. auto industry. The EU isn't just buying gas, it's securing resources for its electric vehicle sector. Canada supplies lithium and cobalt, while the U.S. struggles with environmental restrictions limiting mining operations. Third, declining U.S. geopolitical influence. For years, the U.S. used energy exports to control global markets. If Europe finds a more stable alternative, America's influence in global negotiations could weaken significantly. The global energy race? Can the U.S. compete? The global energy landscape is shifting rapidly. The U.S., OPEC, and Russia are facing a new challenger, Canada. With Europe securing long-term deals, Canada is rising as a major LNG supplier, threatening the U.S.'s dominance in energy exports. First, lower transport costs. Canada's LNG export hubs on the East Coast allow for cheaper and faster shipments to Europe compared to the U.S. Second, more political stability. European leaders are tired of unpredictable U.S. policies. Canada offers a dependable, long-term energy partnership. Third, strategic positioning in Asia. Canada isn't just supplying Europe, it's expanding into Asia, particularly China and India, which are rapidly increasing LNG imports. With Canada's entry, the global energy market is shifting, and major players like the US and OPEC must rethink their strategies. The big question, can the US regain its market? The race isn't over yet. Will Washington introduce new trade policies to win back Europe, or will Canada solidify its position as the next global energy leader? As Canada gains momentum, the US must decide, will it compete or fall behind? Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.